What's up? This is Reed in the Woods, and we're going to take a look at helping you land more headshots. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and then the notification bell. That helps me out and lets you know when more content like this is coming out. Alright, so diving right in, the first and most important thing that I think is worth noting is your sensitivities. So let's take a look at these. So obviously, as mentioned, we are on console, specifically Xbox here at the moment, so we are relatively limited on our button layout, just to a couple of presets that they have laid out for us. So Type B, plain and simple. Type C is a new one that is cool, making LB and RB lean left and right. Cool, great, not that big a deal, it's just a preference thing. Threw me off because I'm way too used to regular controls. So diving into basically the most important sensitivity in my opinion, the dead zone. How quickly does the actual camera move based on the amount of input you are pushing on your controller joystick? A safe spot in my opinion is just before it starts moving on its own without you even touching it. That is obviously a little too ridiculous. Set it right above that threshold so that it does not move on its own, but just moves immediately when you tap that joystick. Now overall, and I'll dive into some more thoughts, but just go ahead, feel free to pause the video here and just take a look at these sensitivities. I'll go down to the next list as well underneath general sensitivity here. So after general sensitivity here, we have all of the zooms, and they're not entirely too consistent as far as being the same, maybe all on, sensitivity 10. They are all kind of different. So basically what we've got here, general sensitivity at around 6. Aim acceleration, in my opinion, should be turned off. That has allowed me to have very smooth aiming, and it does exactly what I want it to. Obviously, that is a matter of preference. So do what you like, but this is what I suggest. Over the shoulder aiming, I have around 6. That is helping it feel a little bit more consistent between the general sensitivity and the over the shoulder. So now that you've seen the sensitivities on paper, let's take a look at what they actually look and feel like and why it might help you land more headshots. From 1 all the way to about 8, they feel like they move at about the same pace. I think this is important so that whenever you're changing zoom optics, that you're not having to relearn how quickly something is moving, so that you can adjust to one feel of sensitivity. So that if I want to go from a 1 time on a canted to the 2, all the way to the 4, and then to the 8. It feels the same. So that, in my opinion, is a combination of good sensitivity choices as well as no aim acceleration, so that there's not a fluctuation when you're pushing all the way and it changing over time because it is slowly accelerating to give you more speed. I also find the general sensitivity to be pretty appropriate. Let's get up to a target and see. So general sensitivity here, it's not too crazy, not too quick, but allows you to turn around if you need to. It doesn't drastically change from quick hip fire to candid to 2. You've got a lot of control. It allows you to actually spend time to learn a system and get good at it. So that's why I chose the slightly tighter, slower approach to sensitivities. In theory, it may sound nice to be able to move and turn very quickly, but when you're in the moment in combat, you'll find that you are missing far more often than you are landing shots. It's very valuable to have a lot of control over your finite movement whenever you're tracking a target. Now, thought number 2 is strafing in this game. Strafing meaning, of course, moving left to right while you're aiming down your sights. This is not your Call of Duty or Apex Legends or whatever. You are going to have a lot of bounce whenever you are strafing left to right and trying to aim down your sights and shoot at somebody. This gets me killed more often than anything else. Now, having certain attachments will cut down on that, like a tactical stock or like a cheek pad on a sniper rifle. They will actually reduce the amount of wobble that you have whenever you are in ADS and strafing left to right. Basically, in my opinion, what I see it cut down on is the amount that your character seems to breathe and raise the reticle up and down passively. It is just seemingly a fixed animation that is just going to move on its own. This seems to, tactical stocks for ARs, and cheek pads for snipers seems to cut that, what feels like in half, that breathing motion. It is significantly less of a dip. So attachments play a part in helping you aim quickly and land your shots. One thing that I would not encourage is full auto while not only strafing, but just in general from a bit of a range. Of course, you can get good at dialing in your shot, but what I would encourage is seemingly within the first 5 shots, there's more control. And I've gotten myself in more trouble in a moment encountering a person going full auto and just hoping that I'm hitting them while moving. It starts to get a little bit crazy, and then what happens is you start to try to overcompensate and pull your shot back in, so you wind up sweeping nice and hard, and you wind up missing most of your shots. So my encouragement in a moment of fighting somebody else is, instead of just hoping and praying that you're going to land that shot in full auto, just stop for a second, line up your shot again. That's with an AR, and now of course with a sniper rifle that is a different story. With a sniper rifle, I would not often encourage strafing while trying to aim and shoot, because obviously it bounces a lot, although the cheek pad does help cut down on that breathing animation where it moves your reticle up and down passively. You should still get used to doing a quick aim down and shoot. I would even say the same for ARs. Just pop out, get a couple of good quick accurate shots, maybe dip back in. So now understanding that strafing is actually not entirely the best idea in this game, though possible with certain weapons and certain attachments, you're better off running, taking a moment to take a quick shot, and then moving again. And of course, crouching reduces that amount of breathing animation that happens, cuts it down by probably almost half. Again, of course, laying down being the ultimate lack of movement passively, but that's not very practical in a full combat situation. All of these things are under the impression that you change your sensitivities. That is the biggest battle I watch people have, is either changing your sensitivities often or just not actually changing them at all. And so you're getting used to a random equation that it has set up for you that is extremely inconsistent and not easily able to master. So at that rate, that just leaves practice. And the type of practice that I feel like is most important is being able to, of course, after you've gotten comfortable or start to get comfortable with this set of sensitivities, is just get good at practicing quickly looking around corners and without even holding breath or any of that, just quickly lighting off rounds and seeing if you can land some headshots. The quicker that we can execute these shots accurately, then the less time we spend with ourselves out in the open getting shot. Another way you could practice is line up a couple of guys like this in training grounds and just see how quickly you can flick back and forth. One shot per person. This will get you used to how quick your particular sensitivities are that you have set up. So let's see if we can quickly light off a couple of shots here without taking our time to line up the shot or even holding the breath to make it. So if you can quickly light off 3 shots like that and land them, within the first half second, you're in a better scenario than most of your opponents, because they may be taking a moment to wait, hold the breath, and then take the shot. But that's going to get you in more trouble than it will actually do you any good, especially overthinking your shot. You've probably got 100 rounds like I do. For your bolt-action sniper rifle, you're not likely going to get through them. Just start lighting off rounds. You'd be better off wounding your enemy even if it's not a headshot than taking your time and not doing anything at all. Took off the helmet, 3 good shots. So that is an example with controller having a bit slower and tighter aim with your sensitivities so that you have a lot of control over the finite movement. Another reason sometimes I feel like I may not get headshots all the time with a automatic rifle is because I'm just not trying to make the shot. So whenever you have better sensitivities dialed in and you understand the strafing mechanism in this game and that it's kind of working against you at times, all you have to do is just be bold and actually try to aim for the head. You might miss more shots, but you'll actually take them down quicker if you land even 2 versus needing to hit them maybe 5 times in the torso. So in a scenario of running up to a random guy, go for the head. And within the first about a second, we were able to manage to get about 3 bullets on his dome. And if they're this close dancing around you, this is where I would just encourage hip fire. And obviously there are other attachments that increase hip fire. But you'll land way more shots than trying to ADS, as well as you're even slowing down yourself trying to aim down sights. Just go ahead and spray and pray in this kind of scenario. But having a tighter general sensitivity allows us to actually land a lot of these, rather than sporadically flicking the camera around, not being able to land anything. One of the biggest and most important things is coming to training grounds, practicing these sensitivities, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Sometimes if I'm about to jump into a game and I haven't even gotten a gun in my hands, maybe I've been playing other games, I don't know how the recoil is going to work, and I drop in, maybe I haven't fought anybody in the first 10 minutes, suddenly I encounter somebody, I'm going to be a little rusty. So coming to training grounds, grabbing any weapon, preferably the one that you are going to try to regularly use, and just light off a couple of shots. So in my opinion, the order of importance is setting up your sensitivities properly, not always strafing and trying to move and land your shots like you're playing Call of Duty, because this is just a different game, as well as practice. Get the gun in your hands and light off some rounds with these sensitivities and get used to it. Whenever you actually have some sort of consistent type of movement, you have something to master. So don't keep changing it. Find what works for you, start with this, see if you like it. And approach it with the same mindset that I did. We're not trying to be a mouse and keyboard. We're actually trying to be able to land shots in heated moments whenever we are up close in somebody's face and maybe we're feeling a little bit shaky, maybe the heart's racing. You want to be able to have control even in those moments. So tightening up the sensitivities to allow control over finite moments, as well as enough to allow you to move and strafe with somebody who's actually running across your screen, is how you find the magic spot.